Hey, gamer friends, I'm Danielle.
And I'm Josiah,
And
we
we
are
are
ready
ready
to
to
roll.
roll.
Okay, we're here. We
Yes.
have made it to the penultimate list, our top 10 games of all time as of March 2025.
Yay! Yeah, so go back, watch our other list if you want to find out what's been on it so far, or if you want to find out how we made our list and that kind of thing, go watch those other videos.
I'm so excited to get into this. Let's do it.
Okay. My number 10 game of all time is Obsession. Obsession is a great game
I'm laughing
because it hasn't been on your
because it has
list.
not been on my list yet. I'm
That's
just
right.
saying.
Yes. So Obsession is so good. So what you are doing is you have events that you are planning, and you are inviting gentry to go in and to those events.
Yeah, it's set in sort of like the early 1900s Victorian-ish,
Yeah.
kind of, maybe a little past Victorian, but yeah, like Downton Abbey era.
Yes.
And you are a house, and you are trying to build your reputation in the community, in the upper echelon of the community, and so you are trying to host events and bring people into your home and show them that you are special.
Yes, because we are very fancy.
Yes.
And so, yeah, and you're hosting these events and you're inviting people in, and that inviting people in, you start with the family cards, but then you start adding to your deck as time goes on, and you're adding more and more gentry that you can possibly play. They are worth more points at the end of the game. The fancier the guest, the more points they are worth. And so that's really fun. And you are basically trying to get the favor of the Fairchilds. And
who are the most
Oh, yes.
The top, the cream of the crop.
Yes. The fanciest of the fancy.
Yes.
And so it's just so much fun. You have to have certain workers to do certain things. So, and that makes it really exciting because you're trying to figure out okay, I have to have 4 gentry to play this. And so how can I do that? Do I have enough workers to do that? And they kind of rotate through. And so you do get them back. But it's just so much fun. I love Downton Abbey in a box.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what this is.
Yeah, so I originally did not think I would enjoy this game. I was drawn to it enough because I liked Downton Abbey.
Yes. I forced him into...
You sucked me into Downton Abbey.
To watching it.
And I really liked it. And so it drew me enough to this game, but I still was not sure I was going to like it. Boy, was I wrong.
I know. It's got so much to it. This is a great game to play in person, but it also works really well on BGA. I like it better in person, but I like it on BGA really well. So I would say if you've never tried it, go try it there first before you buy, and that way you'll kind of get an idea of what it's like. But it is just so much fun.
Yep.
So that is my number 10 Obsession.
My number 10 game of all time is Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, trick-taking game.
Okay. Such a mouthful.
It is. This has been on your list already. It's just so good. I will say we love Lord of the Rings. So automatically I'm drawn to the theme of the game. However, we've had some misses with Lord of the Rings IP games. Some that we were really disappointed in. Some that we're not. But this is by far the best one.
I agree. That
we've played specifically, and it is so good. It's a cooperative trick-taking game based on the book The Fellowship of the Ring, and it kind of follows the chapters of the book, releasing characters with the chapters that they came in. And you have to do special things. Sometimes you have to play with specific characters, sometimes you get to choose. And you have to do certain objectives, to win the round and the chapter. And so we've played through, I think, the first half of the game.
Right.
So if you had the extended Blu-ray edition of the movies,
like we did,
It's when you flip the disc over or you change out the disc to disc
right.
2. Yeah. And so that's what we've played. We played the first disc. And so anyway, I cannot wait to finish this, to play the second half of this. We played it with Michaela and Talon.
Yes.
And so we need to get them back here and get it back on the table so we can finish it. I cannot wait. It's so good.
It is. I am excited. And I'm excited to see what else they do, because I assume they're going to have the other 2 books come out.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see what they can do with it going from here.
Right.
So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, absolutely. That is my number 10 Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game.
My number 9 game of all time is Wormspan. You knew it hadn't been on my list yet.
I knew this was going to be in the top 10.
Yes.
I knew it.
I have loved playing Wormspan. This game, I don't know, my expectations were like, I think I'm going to like it. But then when we got it and played it, I loved this game. I couldn't wait to play it again. I was so excited about it. We've played it with several different people, and I've loved it every single time I've played it. It takes Wingspan and it makes it better, in my opinion.
Way better, actually. Yeah. I would say it's significant.
Yes. And the dragons are great. I love all of it. I love that you entice dragons into your cave. You have resources that you get when you excavate caves, and then you entice those dragons into your caves. They're laying eggs on things. You get to go exploring, and then you get all of the different things from that path. There's another track that you're going around. I can't remember what they call that round track.
I don't remember either.
But anyway, and you get resources as you go there. It is just such a good game. You basically have 6 turns per round, unless you kind of earn an extra coin or whatever to play. So
there's definitely some comboing and some engine building that happens in the game.
Yes.
And you're way, way better at that than I am.
I love the engine building games. I think it's so fun.
Yeah, I love this game. It was in my top 50.
Yes,
it was my number 37.
Yeah.
So
still pretty high.
Pretty high, but yeah, it's not quite as high for me as it is for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, I loved it. That is my number 9 game of all time, Wormspan.
My number 9 game of all time is Dice Throne. The whole collection.
Yes.
And we have a bunch of them, as you can see here.
How can you do it? There it is.
Yeah, so it's a dice battler. It's a 1v1. You can play 2v2, but it's best at 1v1. You're a character. Sometimes it's just a normal fantasy character, like a rogue or a paladin or something, and sometimes it's Marvel, X-Men. You know, they've come out with several.
A lot of them, yeah.
Yeah, and so you roll dice, and then you have a player mat in front of you. Your dice rolls determine what actions you can take, and you get 2 extra rolls to try and make something happen. And then there's cards that you draw from a deck that you can use to augment the dice or change something with the opponent's dice, different things of that nature, upgrade your board. It's just really fun. It's quick. I think games are probably 30 minutes or so.
Yeah, if that.
Yeah, and it's just so much fun. I have not ever had a bad experience with Dice Throne.
Right. We just got the X-Men Dice Throne, and we have both boxes. And so far, what character is your favorite that you've played so far of the X-Men?
I would probably say Iceman.
Okay, because we played 6 of 8 of the characters at this point.
Yep. I've played Iceman and Wolverine and...
What's the guy with the glasses?
Cyclops.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I've played those 3.
Yes.
And I would say for sure it's pretty close, but probably Iceman I think was a little bit more fun than Wolverine, but not by much. And then Cyclops was a little bit kind of not as good, but I still had a blast playing it.
Exactly.
That's the point, is that even on a character that I was like, he was not as much fun as the others, I still had a blast playing it.
Right. Yes.
And so to me, it's just really, really good.
Yeah, you'll have to remind me of who I played, because I played Rogue,
Psylocke, and Storm. Oh,
yeah. And Psylocke was my favorite of the 3, and then Storm.
Yeah.
and Rogue wasn't as fun.
Yeah.
But again, still fun, just not as fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least so far. I mean, those are just, we've had one play of each of these characters.
That's right.
Anyway.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that is, for all of those reasons, what makes this my number 9 game of all time, Dice Throne.
My number 8 game is Expeditions. So, I know.
Okay.
Are you surprised that made my top 10?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I am. I knew it would be pretty high.
Yes.
But I did not think it would make your top 10.
I know.
But I should have guessed because it's not been on your list so far. Right. So I should have known that it was in your top 10.
Yeah, this is another one of those that I feel like is a little bit of an engine builder. Mm-hmm. And you're moving these like mechs around this grid and you get to play cards. You are performing actions. It has a little interesting thing that there's 3 actions you can take, but you can only take 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
And then the next turn, you have to take basically the other 2.
Right.
And it kind of goes back and forth. So you have a little bit of choice there, but it's really, really good. You're getting these cards, so you're building up your play area with these different cards. You have to have certain workers can do certain things, and then you are tucking cards, and it's making you more and more powerful. But the whole point is to like, there's these different objectives that you have to reach, and once you reach those objectives, that's the trigger for the end of the game.
Yeah,
and it really could have any theme on it, honestly. Like, I just enjoy the game as a whole. The theme doesn't really do anything for me specifically, but I just really like the way the game mechanics work. I've enjoyed every single play that we have played of this game.
I would agree with the theme. It's whatever.
No, right.
But yeah, it's one of those games that I enjoy when we play. It's not that I don't have a good time. It's just that I think I just have a hard time wrapping my head around how to best optimize play in this game. For some reason, it just doesn't click for me very well.
Mm-hmm. But you've won the game, so
I have. I mean, but I think I kind of lucked into it.
I doubt.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a good game.
Yeah, it's really fun. I really enjoy every play. I don't know that I would introduce this game to like everybody. It would be very specific people that I know would enjoy this game.
Yeah.
But if I could, I would introduce it to them and play with them because I would love to see how it goes. Like, I would love to play this game with Isaac sometime just to see how it goes.
Yeah.
It would be really fun. Anyways.
He would give you at least a little challenge most of the time.
Oh, he definitely would. So that is my number 8, Expeditions.
My number 8 has been on your list already.
Okay.
This list.
Oh, this one?
This top 10 list.
Oh, okay.
Can you guess it?
Is it Obsession?
It's Obsession.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's how much more I like it than you.
Oh, yeah. Of course. So much more.
Yeah, I mean, if there was a list of games that surprised me, this would be way up at the top. Like, in the top. Probably 3 at least. It's surprised me so much how much I like this game.
Yeah.
And I just really didn't think I would.
Yeah, I honestly did not think you would like this game as much as you did either. And as we've talked about before, you're one of those people that like, you have to play a game several times to like it. And I felt like even after one play of this, you weren't like, you didn't love it like you do now.
Right.
You've loved it more and more as we played it. But even after the first game, you were just like, huh. Like, it wasn't I don't know about that or whatever. It was
normally on games like that, I'll start at, I didn't really enjoy that very much.
Right.
And then it grows from there.
Right.
This one I started from, that was really fun.
Yeah.
And then it's grown from there, the same amount.
Yes.
So, wow. I love this game so much. The theme, it's so thematic.
Yeah, it's really good at incorporating.
It just like transports me into that world so much. I love it. I don't know what else to say about that we haven't already discussed.
Yes.
Wow. If you haven't played this game, I so recommend you do.
Yeah, you try it out.
It's so good. It is my number 8 obsession.
My number 7 game of all time is Marvel Champions.
Okay.
You're wondering what
I was wondering.
Yeah, I obviously like it way more than you do. Yeah, so I love Marvel Champions. We have talked about this. We actually did a video. If you haven't seen it, you should go watch it. But it was we talked about what we like about Marvel Champions 5 years after starting to play it.
Yeah.
And so that was really a fun discussion for me
really
to
was.
kind of go back and look at like our journey with Marvel Champions. It was a game that we started off not enjoying at all. And now it's one of my top 10 games.
That's a great point. We had not even just like a experience. We had a bad experience with this game.
Yes. Like I did not like this game.
Yeah. Like surprised that we even came back to it to give it a second chance.
I agree.
Honestly, because we had played it at 4 and don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't play it at 4.
Agreed.
It is best at 2 and that's about it.
Yes. So yeah, we had played it not just at 4, but we had played it, I think, before we were ready for a game
that's
like
true.
this, because we were pretty new into the board gaming hobby. We had just played a lot of lighter games, and so this was like, I felt like it was just a jump for us. And now I look at that and it doesn't seem hard at all.
Right.
But at the time I was like, this game is so hard. I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And so now I think that's funny because it just doesn't seem hard at all.
Yeah, it's not.
To like learn and understand. But we ended up going back to it thinking, okay, let's give it another shot because so many people like it. And I'm so glad we did.
Oh, 100%.
We've had so much fun with this. And I think that if we bought one of those little scenario boxes and we played that every year, I would be so perfectly happy with this game forever. Like it just is such a good game.
Yeah, it really is. It was my number 12.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we both are kind of right there in loving this game. And what a big turnaround.
Yes, huge.
This game has had.
Yes.
Yeah, we had to learn the right way to play it.
Yes.
I had to play it at 2. We had to learn some of the nuance of the game, which was, like you said, slow for us because we were just getting into the hobby. We did get it too soon.
I think so.
We did play it too soon. But once we figured it out, once we got into the groove of the game, it skyrocketed.
Right. And I think like if we had come from like Magic, like a lot of people come from Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
And if you came from that, it wouldn't be hard at all.
Right.
Like it's, I think, way easier than Magic. And so I think if you came from that, it would be a lot easier. But we did not come, we didn't have any kind of experience with that. So it's a lot different. But anyway, that is my number 7 Marvel Champions.
My number 7 is a 2-player only game with highly asymmetric players. You know what it is. It's Kelp.
Wow, this is already in your top 10.
Top 10. I love the game mechanics on both sides. So one side is a shark, one side is an octopus. The shark is hunting the octopus. The octopus is hiding from the shark and also trying to feed on little things, shrimps and things of that nature. And the octopus has these little, they look like mahjong tiles.
Yes.
That are standing up and facing the octopus player, but the shark player can't see them. Right. And so the octopus it's almost like a big shell game.
Yes.
With the octopus on that side of it, and the shark is rolling dice going along this swimming path trying to find the octopus. And it was so much fun. I've only played the shark.
The octopus, what's interesting is like you have to turn tiles down. And so you have to let the shark player see certain tiles at certain times. And to play cards, you have to turn tiles down.
Yeah.
To feed, you have to turn tiles down. And so it's really hard to stay hidden.
Yeah.
And as the shark, it's really hard to catch the octopus. It's
because there's swim lanes that you have to take.
Right.
So it's sort of in this big circle with sort of spokes, I would say.
Yes.
But you can only go one way.
Right.
And so if I make a turn here and you're in this section and I have to turn this way and you're on this side of it, not this side of it, I can't reach you again. If I found you, I have to go all the way back around. Right. And then you have time to move at that point.
Correct.
And so anyway, it's this like cat and mouse sort of game it's just, I had such a good experience. And I love the theme, marine life, is one of my favorite themes of all time.
Yes.
And I love all of the game mechanics. It's just, it checks so many boxes for me.
Good.
Yeah, that is my number 7, Kelp.
My number 6 game is Sagrada. Sagrada is a dice drafting game where you are puzzling out how to put these dice into your stained glass window. And there are numbers and there are colors, and the same number can't go orthogonally next to it, and then the same colors can't go orthogonally. And so you have to try and figure out how to put everything in your puzzle. And there's different levels, so you can start, there's like 3 through 6 or something like that on the stained glass. And so the puzzles get harder because some of them have restrictions, like this has to be a yellow die that goes here. And so you are drafting, you roll the dice, you draft a die, and then it goes around, and then the last person goes again, and then it comes back to you. So if you're the first player to draft, you are also the last player to draft.
Yep.
And so, it's so good. And we love dice drafting games. And this may be this obviously is my favorite dice drafting game, but it may have been one of our first dice drafting games to play.
Yeah, I think it is.
I loved it from the very first play. I feel like it's easy enough to teach just about anyone how to play, but it has a lot of complication to it. Like you can get there and you can get stuck, or you can be like, how am I supposed to fit that into my stained glass window and things like that. Yeah. So it has a lot to this game.
There are. And you get these little, they're not marbles, but they're tokens.
Yeah.
Clear tokens or whatever, but you can use those to play on there's group cards that kind of do special things, like flip the dice to its opposite side, or re-roll the drafted dice that you took, or some, things like that. So there are ways to kind of bail out of a situation if you get stuck.
Yes.
But you can't count on that.
No. And those are points at the end of the game if you still have those tokens.
Yeah.
But if I spend 1 token, you have to spend 2 to use that same power. And then I would have to spend 3 to use that same power again.
Yeah.
And so it gets more and more expensive. So basically you can only use it maybe once. So you really want to make sure that you use it at the optimal time.
That's right. And then there's also group victory point objectives that you can use to sort of elevate the game or make it get more out of it. Right. And so you can ignore those. You probably won't win, but
that's true.
But if you want to get a lot more game out of this game, you can try and get all of them, or as many as you can. So it's like all of your diagonal same colors,
right?
However many diagonal of the same color you have, or or however many 5s and 6s you have, things like that. And so you can add that into the puzzling of your board when you're placing your dice and drafting your dice, which makes it a lot more complicated.
Yes, and you have an individual objective too. Everybody has one color, and the more dice you have of that color, you also get more points. And so there's really a lot going on.
There is.
So sometimes you have to just ignore it. You're like, well, I can't do that one because I don't have the dice to do that, and I'm going to have to do this instead. It's just such a good game. I love playing this game.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So that is my number 6 pick, Sagrada.
My number 6 is a game that we just got, but is kind of a little bit older. We just got not that long ago.
Oh, okay.
It is Space Base.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. I have had such a good time playing this game. I got to play it with my nephews just recently, and it was so much fun.
Yes.
So you have a board with numbers 1 through 12 on it, and each one has a ship. And then there's ships in the middle that you are trying to purchase to replace the base ships that you have. But when you purchase a ship, let's say I purchase a ship that goes in my 5 slot, I then take the base ship that I had, and it sort of takes off. I can't remember what they said.
I can't either.
I can't remember what they call it. But it then turns upside down and slides underneath your board, and becomes an option that you get to take on somebody else's turn when they roll that number.
Correct.
And so once the game gets going, you can have a bunch of your base spaceships, or even they stack. So even ones that you buy. So if I buy another 5, then the one I bought before slides under.
That's
and
right.
so then if somebody rolls a 5 or 2 and a 3, or 4 and a 1 or whatever, I can then take both of those options, not on my turn.
Right.
And so if you fill up your base with turns that you can take on other people's turns, you're just constantly doing things.
Yes.
And I love that so much. And it's such a snappy, quick turn game. It's like turns take 10 seconds maybe at the most.
So fast.
Yeah, so you roll 2 dice. You can either do the action of the 2 separate dice, or you can sum them up and do that action. You can do that on other people's turns if you have the spaceships to do that. And so anyway, I feel like I'm just constantly playing the whole game, and it's sort of a bit of an engine builder.
Yeah, kind of, because it starts off a little bit slower. But it's so fast, it doesn't feel like an engine builder.
It does not. Yeah, it doesn't feel like that.
It's kind of like a deck. I don't know if it's considered a deck builder either, because you're kind of putting new cards in and you're getting more powerful as you go.
Yeah.
So there is that element as well.
Yeah, and I love that aspect of feeling more powerful as the game goes along. That's one of my favorite things of all time, which you'll probably hear a little bit later in my list. But it's just so good.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
I like it.
That is my number 6, Space Base.
My number 5 game of all time is Clank. Clank in all of its variations.
Okay.
We didn't really separate it. If I had to choose, I don't know if I could. Probably Clank Catacombs is my favorite of the base Clank games. But we've also been playing through Clank Legacy Season 2 or Legacy 2.
Yeah.
I can't remember how they call it.
Acquisitions Incorporated. Something 2.
Anyway, but it's the second in the Legacy series of Clank. We are not finished with it yet. We are still playing through it, but we are having so much fun.
And we've played Legacy Season 1.
Yes. And that was a lot of fun as well.
Yeah.
And this game is just the classic deck building game where you are going down into a dungeon trying to be quiet, but you are obviously making lots of clank, lots of noise so that the dragon hears you and tries to attack you. But you're trying to get an artifact and then get out.
Yeah.
And that's essentially the entire game. And then they have, of course, Clank in Space, which is the only one we haven't played.
Yeah, which we need to.
We should play that. But we have had just a blast playing Clank forever. We've loved it. This is a game that if I was making a list of games like for brand new people coming into the hobby, I would choose Clank.
Yeah.
Because it's that easy and that much fun.
Yeah. It has a lot of staying power too.
It does. That's what it's great for all types of players, and I don't know that anyone's ever not had fun playing this game when we played it either.
I've never had anyone not have fun.
Yeah, it's just so much fun. So anyway, I'm assuming since it hasn't been on your list, we'll hear about it again, but that is my number 5 Clank.
My number 5 we have not seen on your list yet either, so I know it's up there. It's Ark Nova.
Oh yeah, we haven't. Ark Nova.
Ark Nova is maybe the first, I guess, Euro style game that I've fallen in love with. It's so good. You are building out a zoo, and there is a gigantic. I mean, we added the expansion, the Marine expansion. So, but our stack of cards literally is like 4 inches, 5 inches tall.
There's a ton of cards.
So many cards. And so you're buying cards to build out your zoo. There's a map of your zoo, and you have to buy enclosures for those animals, which you have to fit in the zoo. They're all polyomino shapes that you have to kind of match up and fit together. And when you place them, there's sometimes you get bonuses for certain spaces that you play. And then you have the main mechanism, the main action board is you got 5 cards, and you put them down at random, and then you can take any of the actions that you want. And then whenever you take that action, it moves down to the 1 slot. Everything else moves up. I really thought that was pretty cool, like a really neat mechanism. And so I usually end up only taking like the actions of 3 through 5, mostly 4 and 5.
Because they're stronger the higher they are.
That's right. They do more things for you. And then there's a whole conservation area that once you meet certain requirements, you can then go associate with a conservation, and it gets you victory points on the conservation track. That's right. There are 2 victory point tracks, the conservation track and then the appeal track. And then whenever you cross on both of those paths, the game ends. I mean, it's just so much fun. There's so much to think about and to do. And usually I get overwhelmed with that kind of thing. But for some reason, it just works in my mind, in my brain, this game, to the point where I honestly, I don't even care if I win. I try to win, obviously, but I don't even care if I win. And I've tried doing things like one time I played the game and I'm like, I'm just going to build an aquarium zoo. Yes. And so I only took like marine life and maybe lizards, and reptiles. Yes. And I just built out a zoo of that. And it was so much fun. Yes. I didn't win, but I didn't care. It was just, so good. Yes. This game is so great. Yes. The only negative I have is that at a 4-player game, it can bog down at certain times. That's true. And it is a long game. It is. So, you have to be prepared for it being a long game. But that is literally the only thing. And if you don't mind long games, then this is excellent. We usually play it at 2. Yes. Yeah. So if you're playing it at 4, you're looking at like a 3-hour game. Yeah, could be for sure. But yeah, at 2, it's great. It's like 90 minutes. Yes. It's nearly a perfect game. It's just so good. Yes, it's a great game. That is my number 5, Ark Nova. My number 4 game may surprise you. I don't know. Okay. But we'll see. But my number 4 game of all time is The Castles of Burgundy. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's very surprising. Right. So I started playing this game this year because I'd heard so many people love Castles of Burgundy. I've heard about it forever, and I've just never jumped in. I'm like, what's the big deal with this game? Now I know what the big deal with this game is. So I absolutely love it. I love that you roll 2 dice, and then you have actions that you have to take with those 2 dice. And you're trying to build up your duchy, and you have different tiles that do different things, and they kind of can play off of each other, or you're trying to fill up certain areas. It is such a good game. I was shocked at how good this game is and how much replayability is in this game. And I have been playing it pretty much nonstop. I'm in a game of Castles of Burgundy on BGA all the time. Yeah, because we don't own this game. We don't own it. And but I absolutely have fallen in love with this game. I love it so much. And like I said, I'm in a game all the time. I rarely win. I am not good at it yet because these people, I think, have been playing it for years. That's the only thing I can figure out. So I am like just right on this, like the surface of all of this. But I have absolutely loved Castles of Burgundy. So much fun. Yeah, that's very surprising. I did not know that. Yeah. I know we haven't really talked about it all that much. We've played it once on BGA together. Which I think is the only time I've played it. Oh, okay. Yeah. You need to play it. I guess so. Play it again. I guess so. It's so good. It is so good. Yeah, I love it. I didn't, in my playthrough, I couldn't really wrap my head around it yet, which is not uncommon for me with a game like that. It takes me several times to warm up to a game like that, but yeah, I guess I need to play it more. We will, and on BGA sometimes makes that a little bit harder, but yeah, so good. So good. Yeah, so that is my number 4 game of all time, Castles of Burgundy. My number 4 game is Slay the Spire. Whoa, this is so high. Yes, it is. I've never played the video game. Yeah. And we've only played the board game, and we just recently got it. I know. I love every part of it. I love everything about it. I love that you get to go choose your own path up this track. And I love that it's essentially kind of a dungeon crawl. in a way, but not like in a classical dungeon crawl way. And you're battling monsters and things, and you are your character gets stronger as the game goes along, and you feel more powerful, and all of these things are just taking all of my D&D boxes, you know.
Yes, because it's a deck builder, so you're building up your deck as you go. And my favorite thing about it is the upgraded cards.
Yeah.
Because it came with card sleeves, and you get to take that card out and flip it over, and it is the same card, but it is upgraded.
Better.
Yeah. And so I thought that was really neat that they did that you could upgrade your cards like that. That was just a really fun thing to do. And I find I want to do it more than the game allows me to, but 100%. It's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes the upgraded card has better special effects that you get, the action that you get to take on it. Sometimes it makes it a cheaper card to play.
Right.
So, and you don't know what the upgrade is. And so it's really fun. Man, I love this game, and I want to play it so much more. We don't have nearly enough time to play this game that I want to play.
We don't have nearly enough time to play any of the games we want to play.
There's so many games that I want to play right now.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is my number 4, Slay the Spire.
My number 3 game of all time is The Crew.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I don't know if this one will stay here, because I think that once we've played it, we'll probably put it away for a while and it may go down. But because of the experience,
I was going to say, you're riding that experience that we had.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
And
it was good.
It's hard to beat when you have such a good play experience. It just takes it up. It's just really hard to beat that.
Yep.
And that's exactly what it was. It was an unexpected fun time for every single person that was playing.
Yep.
We were trying so hard to beat certain scenarios. It would take us time. We'd be we would lose, and then we'd do it again. And then when we won, it was this whoa, we won. It was this big victory. And so, I don't know, that just made it so great. I won't talk about it much, but it is just a cooperative trick-taking game where you have certain objectives and you have to meet every objective. And sometimes it starts off real easy, and then it just progressively gets harder and harder and harder as you go.
Yeah.
And just a great experience.
It's one of those games or one of those experiences, I should say, where time was not even relevant anymore.
Yeah, we were just having too much fun.
Yeah, we looked up and we had been playing for 4 hours.
Yes.
and didn't even realize it.
I know.
And so when you have an experience like that, it automatically means it's a fantastic game.
Right. Yeah, so I think that's really what did it for me, but it's just so good. I couldn't not have it that high. And it is number 3, The Crew.
My number 3 is Too Many Bones.
Okay. So this is the appropriate place for
This is the appropriate place.
Okay. He gave me a very hard time about my placement of Too Many Bones.
Yeah. So you're going to see a theme in my top 3. My first and most love in board gaming and in gaming in general is D&D, right? And so games that make me feel like I'm playing D&D, that pull on those heartstrings that I have for D&D, automatically are high for me.
Right.
And Too Many Bones is one of those games. It is a game, we've talked about it on your list. You're a Gearlock, and they're all asymmetrical characters. It's a dice roller battler. There are minions that lead up to a tyrant that you are battling, and it's done in sessions or scenarios. And you can play it as a campaign, or you can just play it as little scenarios. It's just so much fun. You can upgrade dice. You get to add dice as you go, and each player's dice is specific to that Gearlock and enhances that Gearlock's special abilities. It was so much fun. And the other thing that made this game so high for me is the quality of the components.
Right, because it's chip theory.
The production value. Yeah, it's chip theory.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you pay for it.
Yes.
But man, it feels very premier. It does. Like, it's the neoprene mats, it's the heavy
Chips.
poker chips.
Yes.
Man, this game is so good to me, and this is another one that, like, I want to play this for like 3 weeks straight.
Yes, you would.
And yeah, and of course we can't do that.
No.
But when a game makes me want to play it for a long period of time, over and over and over and over again, it just is going to be high on my list.
Yes.
And this
is a game, I will say, is actually really hard. It's a cooperative game, but it's really hard to defeat all of the baddies. So we've not played it at more than 2-player yet.
Right.
And so at some point we will have to see if that changes it. I've heard it makes it a little bit easier than the 2-player, but we've had a blast playing it. And I like hard cooperative games, so it's definitely right up my alley as well. It's just not quite as high on my list as it is yours.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is my number 3, Too Many Bones.
My number 2 game of all time is Pandemic.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. I see it.
Yes. So Pandemic is a game that we've played forever, almost since the beginning of our hobby. And we've loved it. We've played so many different variations of Pandemic. We just finished the Legacy Season 2. We've played Legacy Season 1, and we actually own Season 0, and that's going to be one of our next campaigns that we do. Yep. But I just have such a love for this game. Yeah. It is a game that is nostalgic and still works for me. It's never not worked for me. I know some people now feel like they're like past Pandemic or whatever as a game, but it just I never feel that way. I always have a good time playing this game. Yeah, for sure. And it's sometimes you can make it really hard depending on how many epidemics you have in your deck. You can make it really, really hard. You can make it a little bit easier if you want to. So it's real easy to scale. Customize. Yeah. You get to play different characters, and we found certain characters to be easier than others. And so you can do it that way too. If you wanted to like make sure that you had a harder or an easier game, you could do that if you wanted to. Yeah. We've just had such good experiences, such good family experiences with this game. I think it will always be in my top 50. I don't foresee it ever not being in my top 50 because it's just so good. I am surprised that it is this high. I knew that it would be high for you. Yeah. And it was pretty high for me too. It was in my top 50. I think it was my number 44. Okay. But I mean, it's a really fun game. It is. I think it was our 3rd game into the board gaming hobby. Okay. I couldn't remember exactly. I think it was Hogwarts Battle, or Battle for Hogwarts, and then Legends of Andor, and then Pandemic. Yeah, I think you're right. And so it has been with us for a very long time. And it's been well loved. Our original game of Pandemic has been well loved. Yes, it has. Yeah. Good game. Yeah. Definitely. Always a classic. So that is my number 2 game of all time, Pandemic. My number 2 game of all time has already been on your top 10 list. Okay. And you probably could guess it. Oh, yeah. I know what it is. What? Is it Clank? It's Clank. Yeah. I thought this was going to be number 1. I did too. In fact, I was shocked that it's not your number 1. Yeah. It was really close to being my number 1. Yeah. It's like really for me like 1B. But I had to make it 2. Well, sometimes the games in the top 10, like I really do feel like at any given moment they could kind of fluctuate and be right there because they're all just so good. Yeah. So we've talked about Clank already. I will say that I love the Legacy Clanks so much. Yes. If I had to pick a base Clank, it would definitely be Catacombs. Mm-hmm. The concept of being able to discover the dungeon as you go and not know where everything is and what it all looks like, to me transports me into again that D&D mindset of like I'm a player character going through a dungeon, and the dungeon's not laid out for you. Right. You go to the next room or you go to the next hallway or whatever. You don't know what you're running into. That's right. So I love that aspect of Catacombs. it does a really good job of it too, because you're like, you don't get to flip the tile until then. And then I do like that you can kind of orient it the way you want, but there are different things that like make it move.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of fun too.
Yeah, it's so good. And of course, it's probably my favorite deck builder of all time that I've ever played. Now I haven't played some of the classic deck builders. I haven't played Dominion, but of all the deck builders I've played, Clank is easily the best.
Oh yeah.
It just makes me feel really powerful at the end of the game, and I love that. I could play it anytime, all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you wanted to play Clank 3 times a week, I would be there for it.
Yes.
I never get tired of it. It's so good. That is my number 2, Clank.
All right, here it is. You ready?
Number 1.
My number 1 game of all time is Ark Nova.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Ark Nova, for all of the reasons he said. I love the theme of this game. I love building out a zoo. I loved it from the very first play we ever played. I love that you're having to fit your animal enclosures into your zoo, and sometimes you get these cards that you can play these like one-off enclosures into your zoo and trying to make everything fit. I love the action selection of, okay, I can use this action at a 5, but I really need to do this action that's a 3, but I need it to be at a 4. Like all of those things I really enjoy. I don't know. This game just hits everything for me. I like the different animals. I even like that it's not, I don't mind. Some people don't like the art in this one because it's like real photographs.
More realistic, yeah.
And they didn't use like an artist to draw. But I just like it for this. I think it fits really well for what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't bother me at all. I really enjoy that. There's just so much good stuff about this game. This is another one that I am in a game on BGA all the time. Like it's just basically one after the other. When it finishes, I get into another game of it.
Yeah.
And they take a long time because it's a long game. And so if you're doing turn-based, it's going to take a while before those games end.
Yeah.
But I'm just constantly in a game of Ark Nova and Castles of Burgundy. So it works so well for me.
Yep.
And then I love playing it in person. Like he said, we play it at 2 people. That's my favorite player count.
I think that's best.
Yeah, it's just, it goes a lot quicker, but it's just so good. So good.
Yep. Nothing to add. I agree with everything you said.
Yeah.
It's just not quite as, it was 5.
Yeah, no, I know. It's so good.
So.
Yeah. But that is my number 1 game of all time, Ark Nova.
Number 1 for me.
All right, let's hear it.
You already know what it is.
Are you pointing?
Right here. My favorite and number 1 game of all time, bar none, is Gloomhaven. I will say / Frosthaven.
This really surprised me because I thought it would be Clank first. Yep. And then maybe Gloomhaven.
Yep. So Gloomhaven edged it out because of the experience that I had playing through Gloomhaven.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is, again, more of a campaign, which, coming from D&D, I love that.
Yes.
Being able to play a character and stick with it over a long period of time, building it up, leveling it up over more and more and more, getting more powerful. The way that I was able to take the deck of the character I was playing and then find different ways, different optimizations for that, like different play styles with that deck. Like if I wanted to, like I was the brute for a long time.
Yes.
And whether I could arrange my cards and play my cards where I was the front line, like I'm going in and
Yes.
Or I could play it where I was the more skirmisher, like I'm going to go in, attack, and jump back and move around. And I just loved the optimization and the customization of my character, and the fact that I could have this character and kind of walk with him through all of the levels.
Yes.
And retire him, and then get a new character that we got to unlock because I got retired a character.
Yes.
It's so good. It's my favorite game experience I've ever had, and I want to do it again. I want to play through Frosthaven. We've only played through, I don't know, 10 or 12.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. 10 or 12
sessions of Frosthaven. So just barely scratched the surface.
Yeah.
And Frosthaven adds a sort of base element to Gloomhaven, where there's a town that you're a part of that you can upgrade and have to defend, and on top of all the dungeon crawls that happen.
That's right.
And so I want to do that.
Yeah, we'll have to jump back in and really go through Frosthaven.
Yeah. So for all of those reasons, for the most fun board game experience I've ever had, Gloomhaven has to be my number one.
Yeah, and there you also get to upgrade cards in Gloomhaven too. Like there's stickers that you can permanently upgrade cards, and that's just, I don't know, there's something really satisfying about that.
Yes.
I really enjoy that part too.
And there are scenarios in Gloomhaven that were so hard.
Yes. Like
we had to play a few times to figure out how to win. Anyway, I won't go on anymore. Easily my number, well, not easily, because Clank is right there.
Yeah.
But it does edge out Clank.
Because of experience.
Because of the experience I had.
Yeah.
So it is my number one game of all time, Gloomhaven.
All right.
That's it. That is our entire list of top 50 games of all time as of March 2025.
I know. So the fun thing will be next year when we get to revisit all of this and see what's changed, see if anything has come in and gone out and all of that. I'm excited to do that next year.
Yes, me too. Yeah,
this has been so much fun.
I had such a great time making this series.
Me too.
Yeah, it's so good.
We hope you enjoyed it as well.
Yeah.
If you did, please like and subscribe.
And tell us down below, what are your top 10 games? What is your number one game of all time? We definitely want to see it.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.